Good morning. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Mastermind. This is Katherine here in Boulder, Colorado, and we are here this morning. We've been reading the 41st verse of Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, written by Dr. Wayne Dyer. I always say his name wrong, Wayne Dyer. There we go. And welcome, Heron, to the call. And we're glad you could join us this morning, or the Zoom. It's not really a call, is it? I guess for some people it would be. But anyway, this is an amazing book. If you haven't read anything from Dr. Dyer, you should. He has many, many wonderful books. And this one is where he is actually reading and sort of dissecting the Tao Te Ching. And so in the book, he has a verse, and then he has, like his thoughts about the verse, which is great to have that input as well. If anybody has the book in person, can you just hold it up for the camera so people can see? There it is, right there. It's a good one. So I'm going to mute and let you guys come out, introduce yourself, and if one of you would also like to read the verse, that would be great.
Hey guys, this is Jason Roberts from Florida, and it's great to be here to study more of the Tao and maybe find some enlightened tidbits here and there, and look forward to a great discussion. I hope everyone's had a good week, and hope everyone is doing well. Thanks for coming.
Okay, good morning. Sandy Root here in Miami Beach, Florida. And it's been a long time, so I'm happy to be back. Good to see you all.
You're gone. Yeah, we didn't see you. Good to have you, Sandy. And Jason, Katherine, good to be here. Thanks. And my name's Chris Camp. And let's see, today, each week we cover a verse in the Tao Te Ching. So here goes. I think I'll just start by reading the verse. A great scholar hears of the Tao and begins diligent practice. A middling scholar hears of the Tao and retains some and loses some. An inferior scholar hears of the Tao and roars with ridicule. Without that laugh, it would not be the Tao. So there are constructive sayings on this. The way of illumination seems dark. Going forward seems like retreat. The easy way seems hard. True power seems weak. True purity seems tarnished. True clarity seems obscure. The greatest art seems unsophisticated. The greatest love seems indifferent. The greatest wisdom seems childish. The Tao is hidden and nameless. The Tao alone nourishes and brings everything to fulfillment.
Thank you, Chris, for reading that. This is a much longer verse than last week. Last week was really, really short. But this week there's so much to talk about. As I was reading it and then reading Dr. Dyer's, interpretation of it, I thought we could probably spend about 3 weeks on this verse. But come on out and tell me what your thoughts are on it. And Heron, if you would like to unmute and introduce yourself, please do so as well. Your mute button is going to be on the lower left side of your screen on a computer, or you'll tap your screen on a phone and it'll show up. You can unmute yourself if you'd like to talk. You don't have to, but we love that you're on here with us either way. There's Samantha. Welcome, Samantha.
Hey, good morning, Samantha. Good morning.
Yeah, we're glad you made it on. We basically just introduced ourselves, and then Chris read the 41st verse for us. So if you want to come out and say something before we get started with the discussion, you certainly can. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Oh, Heron, welcome. I'm sure you already welcome her, but welcome. Good to see you. Or hear you if you're out there. I'm Samantha Studebaker Carl. I'm sorry I'm late this morning. We just got done moving. Well, not done moving, but we got the heavy stuff moved last night. Didn't get done until about 2:30. And so anyway, I'm in my new place, and I've got my computer sitting on a big Tupperware tub thing, and I'm looking forward to the discussion this morning. So, but if I'm out of it, I apologize for that. So I'll turn it back over to you guys. Get my head in the game here.
I'm so excited for you. If you missed last week, Samantha shared with us, I think it was last week that you shared that you had this decision to make between these two places, and one was a more practical decision as far as money was concerned, and one was like something that you really wanted, and you were weighing it, and you went with the one you really wanted. So we were all congratulating you, and I know that you're enjoying yourself in your new place. So that's awesome.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, it's very odd. it's odd being back into our own place in our own space. I've got like 1,000 square feet. It's the craziest thing.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, going from being in a camper for a number of years and then transitioning back into a house. So yeah, or apartment. We're in a townhouse. So okay, let's get into the discussion. Who wants to start this chitter chattery? Am I coming through okay? I'm using like my phone for Wi-Fi. Okay, cool.
Wow.
Really clear. It's working well.
Awesome.
So I'm not sure about the first part of the verse and where, why they go into the verse that way. But I do kind of feel the second part of the verse where like the way of illumination seems dark and going forward seems like retreat. The easy way seems hard sometimes. I'm not sure if that is if it's saying that this is like how it might feel, or that this is the way it is, period. So I'm not sure how to understand that exactly. Yeah, I don't. I mean, like where it says true purity seems tarnished, and I don't know. I liken that to how beauty can be kind of in the eye of the beholder, and how sometimes when things are in their original form, and I guess as pure as possible. They seem raw and unfiltered, and maybe not as savory as if you had polished it up and cleaned it up, but maybe it's more pure at that stage. Or maybe he's just talking about, maybe they're talking about how things are not always as they seem. I'm not quite sure. So what do you guys think?
I think a bit like when we're on the path towards illumination or more light, or on our own self-growth, or whatever it is, where we're looking for a better way. We can go through dark periods if we're focusing on being better or going to the light, and going towards the Tao. We can go through difficult times and hard times. We hit roadblocks and bumps as we're
doing these things, as we're becoming more clear and more in our power and more pure, it can seem dark and we can get lost. And that's how I was reading it. Like it's not just this bright path that's so clear. Like there's darkness and there's twists and turns. So that's how I was looking at it, what I got out of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, sometimes when you first start out on something, even if it is simple, it can seem really, confusing and intimidating. And then when you get into it, after you get into it and immerse yourself, it seems easier. But it's kind of like this is just a bunch of contradictory phrases. Like we should be ready for the opposite at all times or something. I don't know.
I think Dr. Dyer points out, how, once again, and we've heard this lesson before, but how could you know one thing without having experienced the other? Like how can you distinguish something without having experienced the opposite of it? And I'm curious, I know some of the people came on a bit late, but I'm curious, Jason, how you're applying this to your current situation, something that seems like such, obviously not a wanted situation that happened to you this week. And yet you will see the gifts come out of it, I can assure you, because there's gifts that come with every situation. So look for the gifts in it.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time with that right now. Got in a car accident this week and pretty much totaled my car, and it just was out of the blue. And the funny thing is I had woke up on the right side of the bed. I was in a good mood. I was overcoming all these other things that had been bothering me for years, and even the things that were currently not in a good situation in my life. But I was able to, I've been able to like work through those and really put those in a place and come out in a good place. And then yeah, on Wednesday morning, I got up on a good mood and went out and I went to work. And before I could even get to work, I got in an accident. And since then, it's just been, I really haven't had time to apply any of these things, but someone was telling me, everything happens for a reason, and I was contemplating that, and I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna make something come out of it. I mean, I'm determined to not let this get derail me completely, and I'm just going to do whatever I can. Thank goodness I can work from home, and I can get things done that way. Probably not be walking for at least a couple of weeks, and won't be driving for a long time, I'm sure. So yeah, I was grateful and thankful for everything right before it happened. So it's like, I don't think the universe was like punishing me for anything, but it kind of is like, whoa, okay, everything it felt like it's kind of falling apart. It's like I'm having problems with my computer and my mic, and I recently got the new Note 7 smartphone, and fell in love with that, and they're recalling that, and those are blowing up, and it's just like okay, so so if the easy way is supposed to feel hard, that's what I'm dealing with right now. So should be a little easier than that. yeah, so I'll find ways to apply this, and I'll just keep fighting forward and move on. And I'm going to be looking for those good things to come of it. I think we when it happens like this, I think we're a key factor in it. How we react to it, and is a big issue. I had friends that came quickly to the scene, and I gotta say that everybody there that was at the scene was amazing. I mean, it was fantastic. I can't say enough about the people out on St. Pete Beach. Everybody like just came out of the woodworks and was helping me out, and a lady like brought ice to me, so like that I was like, I didn't have enough time to even react. Everybody was there. There was a retired firefighter showed up, a retired EMT showed up before the ambulance. Everybody was just like hopped in and
you got to witness angels in action. You've already received a gift in this.
I was like, who are all these people? But at the same time I was in so much pain. I was like, what do I do? And they were trying to help me out, figure out what was going on. And the guy said apparently I dislocated my foot, and I didn't even know at the time I'd hit my head, and I busted my smartwatch against the window or something, I guess. And I was just in total shock at the whole thing that happened. And, but everybody was so awesome, and I really got to give them a shout out. They're fantastic. I really appreciate them all. And so that was that was a, you do see, I guess at some of the worst times, you see some of the best out of people. So, but then, I had some friends there who began to say, I wasn't very far from my work. It was like a block away from my work. And so my coworkers came out, and, they were upset for me and taking on, my energy and trying to look out for me, and actually kind of got into a heated exchange with like the tow truck driver and stuff. And, because they wanted my car towed home rather to a lot because it would cost me more money. And so they're looking out for me in that way. And I really appreciate that too, but it kind of shows you how the different reactions to different things. And I was just grateful that, that it didn't seem like anyone else was hurt, and that it was, people were there to help me, and I was just really kind of counting my blessings and being upset with myself at the same time. So, but since then, so what I wanted to say was, after that, and when I had to go back down and get my car from the truck people, and I was upset. I was, the money was kind of an issue, but not a big deal. But I just, for some reason, I had it in my mind that I was just going to try to be as nice as possible to everybody. I don't know if it was me just being thankful for being alive, but I realized that did make a lot of things move easier, and because they could have, the tow truck people, they didn't expect me to be nice. They never get people that are nice to them. In fact, the guy said, he's like, I'm not used to people being nice to me. And like, well, we appreciate what you did, because they actually, after hours, towed the truck back to my house from the lot. And yeah, it cost me a little bit of money, but again, that wasn't an issue. And we're just focusing on being grateful, and that really helped out a lot. And since then, with the bad thoughts that come into your mind, like, oh, what have I done? I've messed up everything. Because I had all these, being in such a great mood, I had all these great plans for the next couple of weeks, that were, coming up. I'm like, oh, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, and wham! All right, now all of it's out the window. So had a lot of negative thoughts flow through my head past couple of days, but I was able to meet them head on and really change them around and take control of them and get in the right frame of mind. And it's one of my friends says still process, but yeah, I'm really grateful, and I don't mean to run on with my own story, but since you brought it up, Catherine, I appreciate that. And interested in hearing what everybody else has to say about the book. But yeah, if you want to comment about what I just said, that'd be great.
Jason, what kind of comes up for me as you're sharing that, and by the way, I'm so thankful that you are alive and safe, and I don't know how badly were you injured? Was it anybody else injured? I mean,
well, no, I don't think anybody else was injured. I thought I broke my foot. I thought it was a compound fracture. When I took off, was looking at my shoe, I was just waiting for, blood to soak my sock. Luckily it didn't, and the EMTs helped me off with my shoe, and lady had ice there for me like that. She's like, what can I do? What can I do? You need ice? I'm like, okay, yeah. And then it was like that. She had a big bag of ice for me, and I was like, wow, I couldn't register everything at that point. Yeah, it was pretty intense. Thank you. I'm really glad to be here too. And yeah, I was just thankful that there was no, bystanders that were hurt like that. I didn't run into anybody, so that they, had serious injuries. I was glad I took the brunt of it. I about broke my foot. It's a severe, a very severe sprain to the entire lower and upper foot and ankle.
Yeah.
So I have to wait till the swelling goes down to see what all the damage is, but there's probably tendon and ligament damage and stuff like that. But no breaks that they could see in the x-ray. So that's...
Oh, no fun. But I'm glad that's all that you got. If you totaled your car, and that's no fun. But one of the things that kind of came up for me, related to this verse and what you were talking about when you were sharing how the tow truck driver was sitting there going, nobody's ever nice to me. You're being nice to me. That's weird, right? And in the verse it talks about the opposites, right? Saying that, the easy way seems hard, true power seems weak. True power seems weak. That's a good one right there. And that is relating to this is that I think what he's trying to say is that people who follow the Tao, people who truly study the Tao and apply it in their lives, to everyone else, they look weak. They look indifferent. They look, those kinds of things. And yet, you're sitting here, you're dealing with this tow truck driver, and he is experiencing something good from you, when he's so used to all the other people being like complete a-holes. And that kind of like, you as a person are in a more powerful position of influencing this person in many different ways. I mean, just anytime that we are, when we react in a way that's unexpected because, people are used to something else, is that we show that there's another way, there's a better way, or a more pleasing, kind of way where everybody gets along and everybody benefits from it, right? You can, it's kind of like that whole how to influence friends and influence people when we're studying that book and realizing that, you can draw more bees to honey than you can with, lemon. Is that what it is? I don't even know what that saying is, but that's what it kind of boils down to. And I think that's, I'm sorry that you had to go through that, Jason. It always sucks when something traumatic happens. God knows we've all been there. But I definitely think, like what Katherine says, is look for the positives in this. And so far you've shared a whole bunch of positives in this, and you realize people that care for you deeply, and that also have your back when crap goes to hell, and random people coming out of the woodwork that you never even know existed. There's all those kinds of things, and you never know. This may just be a something in the road that's causing you to shift gears and go in a different direction for some reason. Who knows why? But sometimes you just got to embrace it and be like, okay, what are you trying to show me? Where do I need to go? What do I need to do? Because obviously what I was doing was not going in the direction of You know how we've studied different things before, and we talked about, if you want to reach a goal, you've got to go a certain path, right? You set this goal and you go down the road to get to that path. And sometimes we think we're going in the right direction. We keep going and going and going. And even though all these road signs are saying, no, turn that way, and we keep going and we keep going because we think we know the best. And we're not paying attention to our inner guide. Is that, at some point things just smack you in the face and go, hello, this is the way you need to go. And, and I have no idea what you're experiencing or what, anything like that, but that's how I would take it. I mean, I've had some pretty traumatic things happen. And, when I was a pet groomer, I had some things that happened that really gave me the indication that, okay, I really need to not be doing this anymore. And I thought I was doing the right thing. And I thought, I needed to do it because of financial reasons or this, that, or the other. And it wasn't until I got a couple big smacks in the face that I realized, okay, this isn't where I need to be. I need to be doing something different. But I would never have looked at it that way if those things hadn't happened. So, I think that that's kind of one of those things, like, what aren't you seeing? What aren't you looking? What is it that the universe is trying to show you? I don't know. That's my thoughts on it anyway.
You mentioned something earlier about, I think, taking on people's energy and how I, chose to just, be thankful for people that, even sometimes don't get that a lot. And you talked about, how to win friends and influence people. It's, even if you're not trying to influence people, in a certain way, we're influencing people. You are influencing the people around you. And I used to liken it to a very simple example of how I can, if I'm not going around with a big smile, grin on my face, people think that I'm in a bad mood. So they react to that. And so I've had to learn to be aware of that too. And sometimes I forget. And then I come out of a situation and I'm like, that wasn't the response I was expecting at all. I'm being in a good mood, but not, smiling from ear to ear. And, it comes for me, it comes across as I'm not in a good mood because I guess I have one of those faces that's like that. And, so, sometimes I get the wrong reactions to things, and I've experienced that as well. So I just wanted to point out that even if you're not really trying to make a positive impact, you could actually be making a negative impact and not realizing that could be affecting you throughout the day. And just because people are picking up on a different vibe that you're giving off, it may not be even the actual feelings that you're feeling, but it's their perception of it. So if we're more aware of what other people are perceiving, then we can kind of smooth out our pathway, or while we're going through our days. I think just something I kind of figured out, and you reminded me of, Samantha.
One thing I've noticed since we've been studying, the Tao, studying all these other different things, and other things that I read, is that I've noticed I've become a lot more intuitive of other people and what they're feeling. And, even without them saying anything, even with that, I mean, it's the craziest thing. I mean, I just absolutely know when people are lying, and I know it sounds silly. It's like, it's not like I'm going out here going, oh, okay, you're lying, or you're lying, that kind of thing. But I notice it, and it's so weird, because a lot of times you'll notice people are lying about stuff that makes absolutely no sense to lie about. But I also notice when, different moods of people and even if they have a smile on their face, you know, I can tell that that's not the surface, that's not really what's going on with them. And, you know, I can be passing by somebody and it's just like a wave of energy. And it's, you know, I don't know. I guess it's just because I feel like it's because I've stepped back and stopped focusing so much on what, I guess you could say that, you kind of tell the difference between when people are reacting because they think that's the way they're supposed to react. And so, you know, they get all over dramatic and that sort of thing, and versus what is actually going on and that kind of underlying current. And I don't know, I guess it's because I feel like, you know, studying this kind of thing, I can realize there's so much that is unnecessary and so much drama that's unnecessary. And I think that's where this part where it talks about being indifferent is, it says, it seems like, it said, what was it saying about indifferent? It said the greatest love seems indifferent. And when you start to have more love for everything and everyone in every situation, you stop reacting so much to so much of the dramatic baloney that happens. And so you seem indifferent because people are like, oh, why aren't you upset? Or why aren't you this? Or why aren't you that? And it's like, well, I realize that so much of the things that you know, everybody's getting upset about, there's no reason for it. But I don't know, I kind of went off on a tangent there, but I don't remember where I started with this conversation.
Yeah, it sort of gives you thicker skin, doesn't it? Because you're kind of armed with.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily thicker skin as much as just being able to see through the ego curtain, if you will, you know, and realizing so much of the stuff that happens between people and interactions, you know, of people with other people and in situations and everything else, is that you realize it's just the ego. And when we stop playing off of each other's egos, then it releases you from the bonds of being in that drama. And but unfortunately, to the outside person who hasn't done these studies or hasn't gained any of that intuition or doesn't realize that it's all ego and it really isn't our true self, they get the impression that you are indifferent. At least that's, you know, it's like you don't even care. And it's like, well, it's not that I don't care. I just don't care about this ego mumbo jumbo that's useless. You know, I mean, I don't know. Does that seem, I don't know. It's just one of those things that kind of came up when I was sitting here looking at, you know, the different contradictory statements that it was, you know, talking about. I mean, because there's numerous ones in here. I mean, just well, you know, like the greatest wisdom seems childish, and so much of the time we sit there and we've heard, you know, you hear, oh, that child, the child says something and it's so profound, and you're like, oh, duh. You know, I don't know why I stopped thinking about it that way, and it's because all the ego stuff got in the way, and you know, we get programmed to think that we're supposed to do and supposed to be and supposed to act in certain ways and all of that, and we don't really need to. I like how at the end it talks about, Wayne gives the suggestion to just follow, you know, hang out with a child for a day and really observe how they react to the world compared to the way that most adults react to the world. And then kind of examine those things. Why is it that a child acts this way versus an adult acts this other way? And you know, I mean, I've noticed over the years how I have taken on things from books I've read or TV shows that I watched or interactions between family members when I was young, and all, you know, where so much of this stuff that comes up in my life, not as much now as what it used to, but when I used to have so much drama going on, all these issues that I was dealing with, it seemed to stem from something that I learned when I was younger, that I thought that was how you're supposed to be and how to act and all of those kinds of things. Somebody else jump out. Chris, it seemed like you were thinking about making a comment.
I was. No, those are like really good points. you guys have been like sort of speaking what's on your heart, so I appreciate that. It seems like we're getting to the nitty gritty, just talking about, you know, this first thing that came to my mind was this, like a bunch of the Tao Te Ching verses. Seems kind of lofty. Seems really high. Like how he explains everything. Seems there it is, you know. Easy way seems hard. These verses seem supposed to be an easy way. It's kind of complicated. And I like how you guys are suggesting how it relates to your situation, and what you were saying about finding truth and seeing through things. I can relate to that a lot. Although I'm not so sure that I can read people, but I know something's there, you know, between truth and what's really going on. So I can relate to that.
I have a meme I'll have to send you, Samantha. It's about empaths and lies. I can't remember exactly what it says, but I'll send it to you. But yeah, that's what I like to do is and I think it talks about that in this verse, or at least in his version of it. There's a difference between looking at the Tao and living the Tao. There's a big difference, you know. Like, you could have had a completely different reaction, Jason. Like, I wonder how you would have reacted if you hadn't been in this group for the last several years, however long you've been here with us. How much has study like this and the mindset work that we do, not just here, but that you do in your life, how much that has changed how you wound up reacting in that situation. You did get to see angels descend, which is an amazing thing. Anytime like that, when the disasters happen and things like that, as tragic as it all is also a miracle in and of itself to see the angels descend upon the scene and take care of things out of nowhere. What are the chances that somebody could just get you ice right then, and that, you know, it just happened to be an ex-EMT or whatever, retired, or, you know, you had true medical people on the scene right there with you. And so there is something about situations like that. Like, you have no idea, perhaps, and just consider this for a moment, perhaps the tow truck driver or the guy that you spoke to at that place, perhaps he was going to take his life that night because he was so sick and tired of this job and everybody yelling at him and hating him all the time. And maybe you're the angel that was there for him, that showed him kindness, something that he hadn't experienced, that helped him get to another day or to more years with his children or whatever. We really do not understand the intricacy in the way that the universe works. Like, there's so much more going on than what we see on the surface, which I think is another thing that this verse really shows us, is to look beyond what's on the surface and get to that heart stuff that you guys are talking about, you know, to not take it on the surface as a tragic accident necessarily. Like, for me, some people would consider being primarily in bed for 11 years very tragic, but it has given me gifts that I never ever would have gotten before, in so many ways, like countless ways. So there's just so much to see beyond, you know, what sometimes we think that it's just a simple situation and we have no idea the power that it holds for the other person, or what it meant, you know. Maybe, who knows, maybe that guy also has a tragic home life or something, and that was the only kindness he sees, period. You know, we just don't know. So bravo for you for handling it the way that you did. And yes, we do have to be grateful for everything. Like, there is a purpose for everything, as tragic as it seems. And Sandy, I know you recently had to leave where you live. Did you have to evacuate, Jason, too? You're down there in Florida. I didn't find out if you had to evacuate or not, but I know, Sandy, you got out of there, out of the storm's way, and people's lives have been completely turned upside down, losing their homes and all their possessions, and family members and things like that, especially in Haiti. A horrible disaster there. But for the helpers, there's something about those disastrous situations that allows somebody else to play the part that they came here to play.
Yeah, that's so true, Katherine. And I have to say, you're very inspiring yourself. I mean, you have a very unique way of perceiving things, and I do believe what you said is totally true. We may be pushed off into a different path, or unexpected changes happen, but the gain that we're going to get from that, we obviously usually won't be able to see it and see the goodness out of it. I think because it's something completely off the radar for us at the time. So it is a good example of how all the universe interacts. And if you're walking around, you're walking through life feeling like no one's noticing you, well, maybe it's because you're not noticing anyone else. You kind of have to put yourself out there and kind of go by faith a little bit with it, and see how it goes. I think this group definitely has helped me out tremendously with dealing with a lot of my past issues, as well as the current ones, because I can kind of take a step back and think what's really going on. Is this just me, just my ego, just my emotion, or am I keying off somebody else's energy, or some other energy that's outside of myself? But it's very empowering. It's very powerful to know that either way, if you try and you work on it, and you learn some of these skills to see things a little differently, you can react differently, and it can have a huge impact on how the world reacts to you and around you. And but we have to be open to it. And if we have a lot of resistance to it, then if we have resistance to the world's going to have resistance to us too. Sometimes it's hard to open up to that. That maybe the things that happen in our lives are actually a reflection of ourselves. So yeah. But thank you for that, Katherine. Appreciate you. It was interesting. I don't know if maybe Chris, you had seen that recently. Someone had done a webinar on talking about mirror neurons, and it was kind of the same thing as picking up on someone else's energy.
No, I didn't see that. Who was that?
That was William Wood. And he was talking about how they did some studies where they could tell that an animal was experiencing what a human being was doing. They could tell through their brain waves, because the brain waves were exactly the same as if the animal was doing that same thing. but the animal was simply just looking, staring at the human doing it. And so there's something within us, there's something hardwired in us where we pick up on the things that we see, and we almost it's just sort of a reaction that we maybe can't control. We automatically feel and experience that thing, even though we're not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even though we're not actually experiencing it. So.
Right. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. No, I didn't see it, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So that's been proven, but I think that's one of those things. Now that's off the topic of the book, though, really. But I'm wondering, in this verse, he goes to great lengths to talk about how things seem contradictory with the Tao, and then talks about his last one is the greatest wisdom seems childish, and then the very last two lines are something so simple, and that it says the Tao is hidden and nameless. The Tao alone nourishes and brings everything to fulfillment. And so now when we read that, which person are we? Are we the great scholar? Are we the middle scholar? Or are we the inferior scholar that's ridiculing that? I think that might just be a stage in our thinking. At first I would probably ridicule that too. But since I've been more open to it and going through these readings with you, I can find some truth to that. But that's because the resistance has kind of fallen away. So. I can't help but well.
I get what you're saying there, Jason, and I think it is that. Well, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of on another thought process. I wanted to address that part where you're talking about the animals. I kind of got stuck on that in my mind, because that I've experienced that a lot. When as a pet groomer, it was really, really fascinating to me how the animals would act exactly how their pet owners would act when they're bringing the dog in. So the owner would have all this anxiety, and they'd be all worried that the pet was not going to have a good time at the groomer and all of those kind of things. And the dog's all cowering and shivering in the corner, And as soon as the pet owner would walk out the door, the dog's like, "Hi, I'm here. We're having fun. Yay. What are we going to do next?" And it was so funny how that happened, but I was always fascinated by that. And then when an owner would stay with the dog for one reason or another because they had so much anxiety about whatever we were doing, trimming the dog's nails or whatever, and then having to kind of put my own energy into the dog and help the dog focus more on what I was feeling, which is calm and ease and comfort and all of that kind of thing. It was interesting how the dog, some of the time I could overcome the owner's anxiety, and other times I wasn't able to. It was just very interesting and fascinating how that works, and how animals, that's what they're just intuitive that way. I've said, not to everybody on here, but many times when I was working with dogs, how I felt like they were just here to be whatever it is we need them to be, right? Because they don't have their own, not all of them now. There's a lot of dogs that do have their own personality to some extent, but most of them just have the personality that the pet parents expect them to have, and so, but it's just really interesting. But anyway, I just wanted to touch on that for a minute, because since you brought it up. But I thought with the end of this verse, the tail alone nourishes and brings everything to fulfillment. And one of the things that kind of came up for me a minute ago, Jason, is to suggest just taking some time to meditate after all of this, and just becoming open to whatever it is the universe is trying to show you, because Tao nourishes all and brings everything to fulfillment, right? So you just got to pay attention, although it's going to happen regardless. So, I mean, sometimes it just ends up being the hard way because we make it hard. But I don't know.
Yeah, it can be as hard as we want it.
Yeah. Hey, Heron, I don't know if you have audio, or it's awesome to have you on here. You haven't added anything to the conversation. I wasn't here when we first started, but if you want to jump out and share some thoughts, gosh, feel free to. We'd love to have you add your thoughts. Do you have audio? Well, at any point, you feel free to jump out. In the meantime, we can go ahead. I mean, we're getting close to the top of the hour. If everybody wants to just share final thoughts on this verse, and or anything else, we've been all over the place today. So,
Well, my final thoughts are that being human is messy, period. And I see more misery occurring, more misery and suffering occurring because of the resistance to the situation than I see happening from the actual situation itself. And the resistance is, of course, a self-imposed way of suffering. So I don't know if that made sense, but like, to bring it to your situation, Jason, obviously the thought that that shouldn't have happened to me will cause more suffering than any other thought about that whole situation, because, and I'm not saying you feel that way or that's how you're going to handle it or anything. I'm just saying, using it as an example here, or like for my example, when I go, say, to the grocery store or something, and I'm in all that pain, the thought that I shouldn't be in this pain is more damaging and makes me suffer more than just getting through the situation, if that makes any sense. So try to stay out of resistance to things, accept them as a piece of this messy place that we call Earth and being human, and take that step back, be that observer, and see what is being shown to me here. Like now you have a much greater sense of comfort, Jason, I would imagine, knowing that you are surrounded by angels. If you fall, you've got people around you immediately with ice and expertise and everything, man. You've got like a whole crew following you. So I think just staying open and seeing how the situation has benefited you. Hopefully you had insurance, and we pray for a speedy healing for your foot. If it had been broken, I would have the perfect thing to mend it, but ligaments and tendons are a little bit harder. So that's I'll send some extra healing to your foot, and hopefully it'll be interesting now going forward to see what comes out of this, and what gifts wind up coming out of this situation for you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Heron, for showing up, and you're welcome to type in as well. We're just glad that you were able to find us on the Zoom and join us, and maybe one day you'll be able to come out and share with us. Yes, have a blessed weekend too for you. Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your story, Jason. I think it helped the conversation. It was perfect because it went with the chapter, and I was very much more receptive today. I enjoyed listening to all the comments and the teachings, and there was a lot of wisdom shared today. So I felt just wanted to receive it. I didn't have much to share on top, but I'm grateful. And I know that you will see the gifts, Jason. It takes time sometimes. When we're in it, we're just like, rah, but then later on, you'll see them like we do all the time when we look back in life at hardships. We see, oh, well, if that didn't happen, this wouldn't have happened. And so I'm positive and sure that you will see the gifts. And glad you're good and healthy and smiling. Good to see you all again. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that, everyone. I really did not expect to come out and be talking about that today, but I appreciate you all so much. And there you have it. Maybe it's already, helped something here and there, so it's helped the group maybe. And so that's wonderful. Yeah, all I can say is, guys, if there's something out there, if there is someone who's hurt you or a situation that's hurt you in the past, and just do your best to just let it go, let go of those things that aren't serving you. It does no good to hold on to anger, because that only lives in you when you allow it to, and it's your power to let it go and just let go of those things that aren't serving you, and try where we affect your environment and the people around you. So try that out, and I hope everyone has a great weekend. Thanks for coming.
Chris, did you share final words? Do you want to jump out?
No, I didn't, but I was withdrawing my need to have a final word. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it. It was really nice hanging out with y'all today. Great class. Thanks a lot. Love y'all. Have a great weekend.
If you have something to share, we want to hear it. Don't withdraw your need to share.
You're awesome, Chris. We love you, man.
Thanks. Same here.
All right, guys. It's been wonderful, and thanks, Heron, for joining us today. And thank you, Katherine and Jason and Chris and Sandy. And I don't know where Karen is. She wrote our blog posts for this week. I don't know what happened. I didn't see a message, so I hope she's okay. And so a huge shout out to her, because she's written last week's post and this week's post. And for anybody who would like to write for us, we'd love to have your input on any of these verses. And but yeah, okay, so thanks for joining us, guys. Have a great, awesome, amazing weekend. Like us on YouTube, share this video, like the post, leave us a comment, all those happy, wonderful things that we do on the internet to encourage each other. And with that, we'll close it up for today. Bye for now.
All right. Take care.
Mm-hmm.